Africk-Olefson. Come on down.
I didn't choose the music.
Oh, okay. It was fine. It worked for me. Final answer. So you're going to tell me when to start, or I can just start?
You go.
Okay. Hi, guys. I'm Sherry Africk-Olefson. I'm running for Circuit Court Judge in Group 36. I'm originally from New York, but I've lived here for almost 50 years. I've always been very involved in community. So I was involved with SOS Children's Village and other child welfare organizations. I started a 501c3 called the Women's Equal Pay Network. I ran a nonpartisan think tank. I helped to save thousands of homes during the foreclosure crisis. That's important to you because as a judge, I will step off the bench and out of the courtroom and continue to be involved in your community. And I'm the only candidate in this race who has continually been involved in the community in a very hands-on basis. My legal practice spans over 30 years, beginning with criminal law inside the courthouse and then 30 years of civil law outside the courthouse of what I call the real world. I've handled just about every type of case. That's very important to you because as a judge, we're going to be assigned to a courtroom and a type of case. It's up to the chief judge, and you need a judge who's going to be prepared for anything. I'm the only candidate in the race with that kind of experience, that many years, as well as that level of diversity. Finally, I also have spent many, many years as a certified mediator. The Florida Supreme Court certified me to take cases from judges. I have basically been doing a job very similar to judges for many, many, many years. That's important to you because you need someone who's going to listen to both sides of the case. Sherry Africk-Olefson, Group 36, I hope you'll think about voting for me. The Sun Sentinel did endorse me, and I welcome you to read the reasons why.
Perfect. Thank you so much. And may I have Kristen Padowitz. Come on down.
Hi, everybody. Hi, everybody. Is everybody sleeping? I am Kristen Weisberg-Padowitz. I am running for Circuit Court Judge in Group 36. I hope you liked my little dancing coming down the hallway here. I have been a lawyer for almost 20 years, and all of that has been in Broward County and in public service. I am the only one in this race with jury trial experience. I have tried 75 jury trials, everything from second-degree murder to capital sexual battery, which is sex crimes against children, and everything on down to misdemeanors. As a kid, my father told me several things, but one of those things was there's no such word as can't. If you want something bad enough, you will make it happen. And he lived by what he called the 4 Ds, which he has imparted to me, and I now impart to my 2 little girls, which are drive, desire, dedication, and determination. And he said, those will take you to your destiny, and he was not mistaken. And I've leaned on those for every challenge I have faced in my life, which is anything, getting a job, getting into school, passing the bar, running for judge. I think experience matters, specifically trial experience. Once you've tried a jury trial in criminal court, you can try it in civil court. So I implore you to vote for the one with experience, Kristen Weisberg-Padowitz, Group 36.
Thank you.
Hey, Sherry, my first question to you is, you loaned your campaign a lot of money, as did your opponent. And that's wonderful that you're successful, and I mean that sincerely. The question that I want to ask and that the public wants to know is, you obviously are on the other side of a financial divide that many and most of the people that will be coming before you, in almost every type of a case. Why should they feel comfortable that you get what their life is like? Because they could not loan anybody several $100,000.
That's a great question. I have spent a lot of my career helping people who are at a financial disadvantage. Obviously, I worked very hard. I just want to be clear that what I earned for myself. But that doesn't matter because I also had a lot of blessings and a lot of good fortune in that way. A lot of people don't. I have written several books for people who can't afford a lawyer. I have awoken at 5 o'clock every Wednesday morning for almost 10 years to go do a television news station in Palm Beach County, specifically to help people who can't afford a lawyer. I started a 501c3 called the Women's Equal Pay Network for women who can't afford a lawyer, which is a whole other story in pay inequality, and needed that help. I helped literally with Ted Deutsch, I helped save thousands of homes during the foreclosure crisis as a Supreme Court certified mediator. I've done a lot, and running for judge is actually one of the reasons that I'm doing this, is specifically to help level the playing field for people. Everyone who comes into my courtroom will be treated 100% equally and can have the confidence in that. I'm also very concerned, Howard, about another vulnerable population, which is folks with mental health and substance problems. Socioeconomics is not the only kind of implicit bias. We have racial bias in the courtrooms. There are a lot of other issues that concern me and are the reasons for running. I actually think that because of my success that I have had, I can actually be more fair in a lot of ways, because I'm not going to be open to any kind of persuasion that has to do with money. But thank you for the question.
You're very welcome. Kristen, the Herald Tribune out of Sarasota did an exhaustive study, and it's resulted in several very, very long-form articles. And what they found was the sentencing system in Florida is completely broken. That if you are black, you are going to be stopped when you wouldn't be if you were white. You're going to be searched if you wouldn't be if you were white. You're going to be charged by your office more often if they're black. You're going to be sentenced more harshly if they're black. My question to you is, tell us what actions you've taken within your office, because this report exposes Broward County as having institutionalized racism. I think there are probably people of color that want to know what you did. Did you have their back?
Well, when you say my office, I work for a criminal defense and civil litigation firm. Are you talking about?
For the state attorney's office, where you were for, what, 20 years?
No, 17.
17 years.
Correct. First I started out as an assistant public defender, and I defended juveniles, and then I became an assistant state attorney because I desired to be a very well-rounded lawyer. Working as an assistant state, working in both of those offices is public service, and being in the courtroom every single day while in those offices is eye-opening, to say the least. I was not a police officer. I did not make the arrest. It was more a situation in both offices of, you're now a lawyer, you're now in this office, here's your cases, go. And I did several things as a state attorney that I am very proud of. One such situation happens to be a tow truck driver. The case came across my desk to be filed or not filed, and this tow truck driver was arrested for taking his truck out without having the required lettering on it. And I decided I was not going to charge him. I had discretion as an assistant state attorney, and in my discretion, it wasn't fair that this man should face 5 years in prison and being a convicted felon because he didn't have letters on his truck. So when I gave that decline memorandum to my supervisor, he gave it back to me and said, absolutely not. Tow truck drivers are scumbags, charge him. And I said, absolutely not on my watch. And I risked being insubordinate. Yes, I have the people's back, and I've worked with them for almost 20 years.
Sherry, some people have suggested that you have been very successful in your legal career, and you've done some extraordinary work, but one of the areas where you haven't been involved is in actually trying cases in the courtroom. And my question for you is, do you think that that matters at all for a circuit judge to have had experience as a trial lawyer, or are they two separate functions?
That's a great question. And ideally, every single candidate for judge would have experience in absolutely everything that they could possibly need in that role. But if any of you were to go to the courthouse tomorrow morning and step foot in 100 different courtrooms, in 98 of those courtrooms, the judges would be doing something very similar to what I have been doing for the past 30 years as a lawyer and as a mediator. They would be reviewing pleadings, they'd be looking at case law, they'd be setting calendars, they might be listening to requests for continuances, because that's what judges do. And that's what they need to do. That's their job, because no one wants to go to a trial. Trials are expensive, they're stressful, and they're a roll of the dice. And I didn't just make up that number. In our Broward County Courthouse, 98% of all cases are actually resolved using methods similar to what I've been doing my whole entire career. Now, those other 2 courtrooms out of the 100 courtrooms that you would walk into when a judge was handling a trial, what they would be doing is what we call in the judicial arena fielding balls and strikes. They would be managing the trial. And in order to do that, you need to know courtroom procedure. To give you a little context, in law school, we take about 40 classes. We're required 1 out of 40 classes is courtroom procedure. And the lawyer, you don't even have to be a lawyer to know courtroom procedure, because the bailiffs know it, the stenographers know it, the JAs know it. So ideally, I would know that. But what I do know is all areas of the substantive law, which is the biggest complaint most attorneys have about judges not knowing the substantive law. And I'm also very good at helping people reach consensus as opposed to listening to one side of the case. One of the biggest problems that lawyers have is they walk into a courtroom and they feel like the cards are already stacked against them because the person on that bench is a career prosecutor. I'm fair and impartial.
Kristen, your second question. There has been a lot of trauma in our community. I guess my question for you is, are our kids safe in school as school is just opened up?
Well, Howard, I wish I could comment on that, but there are judicial ethics rules in place that prohibit us from commenting on issues that could come before us one day. And being that the environment is what it is, I am not convinced that that topic will not come before me one day. So I apologize, but I don't feel comfortable answering that question. But I can tell you with my experience, I have 2 young girls. One is 12, one is 7.
Well, now, if you don't want to answer the question, you don't have to answer the question.
Oh, do I still get 60 seconds though? Okay, all right.
No, you don't.
Okay.
And the answer to the question is no, our children are not safe. Thank you. These are your candidates for this race.